I'm going to use this under the Fair Use Act. Dave Hodges, who prides himself as a man who stays ahead of everything, and this was a recent video he did just yesterday. He prides himself as being a man that stays ahead of everyone else. So let's listen to what he just can't figure out.
Have a bizarre development with the handling of migrants, and I mean, this is beyond bizarre. This has gone into Looney Tunes territory, and Saki just shows her.
So yesterday he was just doing a video about what a bizarre development with the handling of migrants. Let's see what he says about it. Let's see what he says about what they're doing with the migrants coming across the border.
Having said that disclaimer towards Saki, as she announced that migrants are now getting smartphones so they can communicate with the court to show up for their court date, of which over 95% don't show up. Oh, but we can track them through their cell phones. They used to put ankle bracelets on. That's the way you tracked them. So if you had any chance of catching them, that's how you do it. Okay, so let me ask you, is it...
Dave Hodges is just incredibly dumbfounded of why are they giving smartphones rather than ankle bracelets to the migrants. This was just yesterday. See, April the 8th, 2022. He was dumbfounded. He just can't understand why they're giving cell phones instead of ankle bracelets to the migrants. Again, so many people are so far behind where I was as far back as February the 1st of 2020. February the 1st of 2020, what I was showing about the Bluetooth symbol. There is your Bluetooth symbol that is in your smartphones that you hold in your right hand. This is a means, a tracking means. So they're not just giving these migrant cell phones. They have to also be allow them to be bitten by the serpent. They have to take some of that, get some of that nanotechnology. That was one video. This is the other video I did March the 5th, and realize this was before the pandemic was ever announced. March the 5th, the pandemic was not even announced until March the 14th. Realize that. There's your timestamp proof. And if you go to this video that I did, it well explains how the cell phones would be involved. Well explains how your cell phones would be involved. And this Dave Hodges is just proof that you were so far behind the times and how everybody was so far behind what I was revealing, what was coming, the prophecies that I was giving before the pandemic was ever announced. I was showing, and if you go to this video, this was a video I did that explains it all in great detail about the nanotechnology that would be in a snake bite and how the phones, the cellular phones, would be integrated into all of these things. So Dave Hodges and all these other ones, these Trump prophets, while the Trump prophets were giving their prophecies of how Donald Trump was going to be given a second term, they were too busy giving prophecies about Donald Trump. I was showing what was coming. I was showing what was coming February the 1st of 2020 about the cell phones and how they would be involved. I was the only one that was showing how the cell phones would be involved. See that there are some that pride themselves as being a step ahead of everybody. This is the funny part. Dave Hodges believes he is a step ahead of everybody. And he's still trying to understand why are migrants being given smartphones rather than ankle bracelets. Well, Dave, if you would have been keeping up with a prophet of the Lord instead of worshiping Donald Trump, you would have known what was coming because I was revealing it back in February the 1st of 2020. And if any of the Trump prophets could prove the things that I could prove, there wouldn't be enough of hallelujahs in the world. They would be screaming out hallelujahs and twirling around and giving their pathetic prophetic performance art shows and screaming hallelujahs for days if they could prove the things that I could prove. If they could prove the things that I was revealing before the pandemic was even announced. Realize that was before the pandemic was even announced. Much less discussions about creating a snake bite, but realize I was showing what was coming before it ever came. Long before it ever came. God bless.